Good morning. So I wanted to, before we get on our interview, I wanted to share this video with you just so that, whenever we interview, you get a small dose of what I may know. So I wanted to give you a hands-on approach of exactly what I would do or what I've been looking at with your websites. So I picked this website, which is the addictioncenter.com. And I'm going to show you exactly what I would do if, let's say, I would start working with you. So first thing I like to do is I like to look at the speed of a website. I like to audit exactly what's going on at the moment with this website. And then what I do after that is I look at the competitors and I see who's ranking for certain keywords. And then I I'll go ahead and I'll make some changes based on what the competitors are doing. So in this case, the first thing is website speed. Website speed is an A. It's very, very fast, which is amazing. There's a lot of A's, so this is incredible. This is actually very good. So there wouldn't be any issue here. The next thing that I like to do is I will go on to SEMrush, and I like to look at the keywords that we're currently ranking for. So I already went ahead and did this, but I'm just going to do it on the video so that way you can see. So I see with this website that we're ranking organically very, very well for very good keywords. So that's awesome. Uh, so here's an example of this word Adderall. This is why I was looking at that page. So here's the page that's currently ranking for Adderall. Adderall addiction and abuse. So I like to look at things like the title tag, which in this case, the title tag is Adderall Addiction and Abuse, Addiction Center. I look at the H1, H2. I also like to look at the content, right? So I think I already looked at this page, or I did look at this page, and it has about 3,200 words. Uh, some of the things that I'll do is I look at the words before and after because Google is all about intent, right? Maybe there are certain words that can be added before and after the main keyword phrase. So in this case, I like to look at how many times the keyword phrase or synonyms of the keywords will are presented. So in this case, addiction to Adderall, which is the same thing as the title tag is Adderall addiction and abuse. And then Adderall abuse is growing concern in the United States. High school and college students are among the drug's most frequent abusers. Addiction to Adderall. Adderall is an additive prescription stimulant with effects similar to meth. Okay. Although not everyone who uses Adderall will develop an addiction, people regularly taking Adderall at prescribed doses are at high risk of becoming addicted. Over time, those habitually using Adderall develop a tolerance to the drug and are able to function normally without it. Adderall works by increasing dopamine and norepinephrine levels in the central nervous system. Norepinephrine affects how the brain responds to events and how it pays attention to the speed at which it reacts. So I'm just reading this here. I like the content, but there are certain technical things like schema. Schema could be implemented. Let's go ahead and check that. So these are bullet points. Yeah, I definitely like the way you broke down the content. It's very informative. So one of the things that I see on here is I would add more visuals. One of the key performance indicators for SEO is how long people are spending on your page, how far they're scrolling down. So that's one of the things that I would do. I would add more visuals in between text just to get people to scroll down more. In fact, the kind of visual that I would add videos where these videos are informative of someone who might not want to read this entire thing because it's a lot of text. So what I would do is I would add videos. Just basically, if you don't want to, I would add it maybe somewhere down here. That way they can at least scroll down some. But I would add it so that those who don't want to read all the text are able to stay on the page long enough so that our average session is a little bit longer with those as I call it engagement elements, which you probably noticed that as well. And then I would add more visuals such as infographics. Here, where you're comparing Adderall dependence versus Adderall addiction, I would add some kind of infographic. There are tons of tools like I use one that's called PictoChart. So let me show you what it looks like. Yeah, so something like this. I mean, it doesn't have to be this design, but just something where it's very easily you can see the visuals very well, and it makes people scroll down this way. So you want some infographics this way. That way, uh, people are spending longer times on our web pages than they are on their competitors. So in other words, this one keyword where we're ranked number 3, we might get a little bit longer average time on page, and we might increase to number 2 or number 1, and that will get us more and more volume. So those are some of the things that I would do in terms of on-site SEO. Uh, I would also I would do a content gap analysis. So in other words, let's see who's number 1. So number 1 is WebMD, and then we also have drugs.com, and then we also see some schema here, which is some of these you might want to add to your content as well. What is the drug Adderall used for? What are the side effects of Adderall? We know that Google likes this because it's up here. So that's another thing that I would do. I would try to use these keyword phrases or these questions in in our page. That way, by adding those, we can see if it makes some difference. But we want to, one, get people to spend more time on our page. we want them to also, we want to have certain keyword phrases or certain questions, such as the ones that Google already likes, and that's why it's up here. And then we also want to add schema, so that we can be featured here. So we want to make sure that we do that. Um, let's see, we do have some links here. Um, so these are some of the things. I'm just throwing out a bunch of different things. That way you kind of see how I kind of audit things and how I look at it and how I start making recommendations. So let's look at this one real quick. So WebMD. So then here we want to look at what are they doing, right? So now grab Screaming Frog. And then I analyze what's going on this page. All right, so on this page, the title is Adderall Oral Uses, Side Effects, Interactions, Pictures, Warnings, and Dosing. So what we have to look at is, we look at the title, we look at the length. They have a meta keyword 1, which some people say that. I sorry, we got cut off in the other video. But like, as I was saying, one of the things that you want to do is you want to look at what the competitors are doing, because obviously Google likes what they have to offer. You want to look at the title tag. You want to compare your title tag and possibly change it, or add a word or two. Um, those are things that we would have to talk about, but these are recommendations that I'd make or that I'd change. Um, then you want to look at the keywords, right, or the words that they have in here. So this one's saying more of how to use Adderall, how to use Adderall, then the side effects, the precautions, interactions. So it's all about how to use it and all the different things involved with Adderall. This one also has more visuals, and if you compare it to our page, our page doesn't have as many visuals. That's because this one's more of a lead generation page, as I can see, because the phone number. But that doesn't mean that we can't have more information, because someone who usually the person that is reading this is usually going to be a family member or friend of the person that needs treatment. I actually worked doing ads for the treatmentcenter.com. I believe they changed their name now, but back in 2014, we were doing Google ads and Bing ads for the treatmentcenter.com, which they have a bunch of billboards all over the place. I'm not sure if they actually changed the name, but that was the name back then. So yeah, that's what I would do. I like to look at what Google likes, and a clear visual of that is by looking at the search engine results page, right? So there's so many tools, right? Like, here we see videos, so adding a video. How does Adderall work? This other page doesn't have a video. The one that we're ranked number 3 for, there's no video. So I would make a video. I would pay to make a video, because then this would increase the time spent on that page. Then we can place this video on YouTube and put the link, or embed it onto our page. So those are some of the things that I do. Um, and there's many more things, but this was just, I wanted to give you a 20-minute video or less, just so that way you can kind of see my thought process, and how to get, because a little bit higher ranking on this, because the difference between being here and possibly being number one could mean thousands of visits per month, which means many more leads. So that's one of the things that I would do, or some of the things that I do.